Well, good evening. This is a meeting, a special meeting of the Groton Board of Education being held on November 10th, 2025 at 6:34 p.m. Present this evening, 5:34, my bad, 5:34 p.m. Present this evening is Sean Corcoran, Jen White, myself, Bev Washington, Dean Antipas, and online is Dr. Andrea Ackerman, Ian Thomas, and Jay Whitlaw. And present from the staff, we have Clint Kennedy, Shannon Weigel, excuse me, and Sam Kilpatrick, Superintendent of Schools Susan Austin, and Assistant Superintendent Anne-Marie Mancini.
And we see Ernie.
And Ernie. Oh, yeah, I saw Ernie too, but I couldn't see him because Dean's blocking my way. The first order of business is a discussion and possible action regarding the approval of the Kendall Foundation from the school grant. Ernie, why don't you come to the table, Ernie? And can I get, Sean, can you read that motion for me, please?
To approve the Kendall Foundation Farm to School grant in the amount of $100,000.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Second, Jen. All right, I'll turn it over to Ernie.
Good evening, folks. Is this on?
It's on.
It's on. Okay, thank you. So we're super thrilled to be awarded this Kendall grant. It is yet another extension of our Farm to School and a continuation of the few grants that we've already got. So this is fantastic. This grant here is going to help expand my processing kitchen manager more hours per day. It's also going to allow me to hire another helper in the processing kitchen. When we talk about processing kitchen, I mean we're taking fresh veggies in from the farms, local farms like squashes and stuff. We're dicing them, seasoning them, flash freezing, and cryovacuuming them and putting them away to pull out for like January, February, March when there's no local stuff to be had. So this is great. It's also berries and stuff from morning parfaits and stuff that we're going to be processing. And we already have our hydroponic shipping container out back. So this grant here is also a little bit working with that too. It is giving me the outer infrastructure that I need, such as picnic tables and stuff to bring field trips up with the kids out back. We're going to put up a pavilion out back. So it's like a giant outdoor classroom, if you will. We can only take so many kids in the shipping container and show them the whole process, while the other portion of the classroom is sitting outside learning different things and techniques there. We're also having some raised beds put out there, so that's another section of learning. Working with Ben Moon and the STEM group, we're all in conjunction with this kind of stuff. It's giving me an outdoor freezer that I desperately need. Obviously, when I process all these products and stuff, I'm running out of freezer space. So this is giving me an outdoor walk-in freezer that's going to be placed. So this is super good, and shout out to Shannon Weigel for helping me write this grant and stuff. She's amazing and super supporter. And thank you all, the board, for being so supportive as well for our kids. It's only a continuation of trying to get local, organic-free stuff to our kids at all grade levels here in Groton.
Any questions? Dean?
It just occurred to me, does Ledyard still have a VOAG program?
Yes, they do.
I'm not going to ask you what the difference is between this and the VOAG program. It's probably quite vast, but I'm wondering if there's any connection or any usefulness to linking up with them. Do they do anything at all that would be, I don't know, that would connect with you at all, to be related? Would a synergy be helpful or not?
I don't believe so.
I'm not sure exactly what they do.
I don't know what they do.
They have all kinds of shops as well that they do in farming.
And planting, they have a whole section. My twin grandsons are in the ag program.
Yeah.
And one is for manufacturing and one's for animal science. So,
Okay. Curious.
Yeah.
do you know if Ledyard does any farm to school initiative? Ernie really spearheads this for our state of Connecticut. I have to give him commendment, because he really has so modeled this good work, and, bringing organic vegetables and then flash freezing them so our kids can have fresh fruits and vegetables all year long. It's tremendous.
Jen?
Annie, where do you anticipate the outdoor freezer to be, at Mary Morrison or one of the other schools?
So, Jen, we're planning on placing this at Charles Barnum outside.
Okay.
Sam and I have looked, there's a nice, right outside the back door kitchen, if you will, because Mary Morrison has an outdoor freezer.
Yeah, we've got
Okay,
the
so
nice
the
side.
problem is Charles Barnum's kitchen is using that freezer because they have no freezer.
Great.
We're going to be able to put this right outside their back door instead of the ladies coming at 6 o'clock in the morning, taking what they need out of the freezer at Mary Morrison and driving it over to Charles Barnum to cook it. So now it's going to be right outside their door. And we've already looked it up. There's plenty of power, plenty of space, plenty of egress. So it's much needed infrastructure there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Is this a one-shot grant or for 1 year? 100,000,
This
that's
actually
it?
is a 24-month. It's a 24-monther.
Okay.
This is the second time we've received a grant from this foundation. I spoke with them today, and I'm really excited about Groton because we're one of the first districts in New England that is building a processing kitchen, and they really want other districts to watch what we're doing. So we're really serving as a model for the whole region.
Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. So what's...
And just one other thing I just wanted to add was we're working with Ledgelight Health District and the state of Connecticut health districts because we're trying to get a processing license to be able to. I can process all I want for our school district, but I can't process and sell to another school district. But once I obtain this license, which Norwich used to have, when they had started up a processing kitchen, it was very small, but everyone was able to get a processing license. But then it went by the wayside when a management company came in and took over. So we're now reapplying for that one license because nobody else has it. In the future, possibly I could sell to our neighbors, Stonington, Waterford, Montville, New London, And this week, we just started our first sale of our own hydroponic lettuce to Old Saybrook. Came and picked up 3 big crates, and a crate is $40 of lettuce. So today's the first week, so it's been about a year, about a 12-month process from growing, learning how to grow it, the cycle, everything, perfecting it. My guy Bill has done an amazing job with that. So this is the first week. This morning, in fact, they picked up the 3 crates. So that'll be an ongoing relationship that we're building with our next door neighbors, if you will.
Oh, Saybrook School District, I take it?
Yes.
Oh, good.
For use in their kitchens.
All right, good. Now, where do you get the license from? The state of Connecticut?
Yes. The processing license?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it hard to obtain? Or?
We just started the process. It doesn't seem all that bad. It sounds worse than it sounds, honestly.
But there's one to be had, and so we're going for the one.
Oh, there's only one in the whole state?
I don't know that anybody is at
Oh, for school, okay, all right. Any other questions? No, we're all ready for a vote? All right, all those in favor of approving the Kendall Foundation Farm to School grant in the amount of $100,000, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ian? That was you, Dr. A? Jay?
Yes,
And
I said aye as well.
Okay, thank you. Any noes? So approved. Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ernie.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action regarding the approval of a community education networks community Wi-Fi grant. And can I have a motion, Jen? Can you read that motion?
Motion to approve the Community Education Networks Community Wi-Fi Grant in the amount of $131,565.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Dean. Thank you, Dean. Okay, Clint, you're on.
Thank you for having me. I will try to be efficient with your time. So we got the team back together. Shannon Weigel, Tim Candy, who's our network engineer, and myself did a second round of grants. If you remember, we were successful in the first round that this board approved, and we also got approval from Town Council and RTM for the community Wi-Fi program, where we're increasing the Wi-Fi connectivity in Branford Manor. We're linking it to Thames River from a connectivity standpoint, but those dollars were used to have a 20-year lease of that line, as well as add additional access to Branford Manor. We're very excited about that, and that project's moving along. There was an opportunity for a second round, so we got together and wrote a grant and received it. This is specifically designed to cover community Wi-Fi access across the campus of GMS and FHS, where we do currently have some spotty reception focused primarily outside of in the press box on the football field, and a few other areas that kind of bleed out. We are always, ever since GMS came on board, we struggled to broadcast the promotion ceremony that we like to do on the fields, first year on the artificial turf, and ever since we've done it on the grass field, to get a strong signal out there to get that broadcast. And we have literally hundreds of people tuning in to see that live. It's also then a struggle because we have a lot of people with their own cameras and what have you on the field doing that. So this has been identified as a need across the campus. So we were successful in getting this grant, and it does two things. One, it provides those external access points and so forth that we can manage and control. But two, it allows me to put in a redundant fiber optic cable between GMS and FHS, which probably should have been done in the building project originally, but who knows? I wasn't part of it back then, so maybe value engineered out or what have you. But we'll add for redundancy and other benefits, hopefully budgetary, down the road by connecting those two schools. So that is the intent of the project, is to feed that, but we've built some of that redundancy in, which will support the project as well as support other things for Groton Public Schools down the road. So excited about the first one, and now we have this one. Only other note, and I'm happy to answer questions, but obviously we just had a successful referendum that is potentially related to or impacts this. I have reached out to my counterparts on the town side and asked them that once they're ready, now that that has passed, that we can have a conversation. I don't think what we're trying to do should impact that at all, but I want to double check that, obviously, because we got this before the referendum passed and so forth. The other caveat to that is we use or lose these dollars by June 30th, 2026, so in less than a year.
And you're spending the whole amount on the Wi-Fi access to Groton Middle School and Fitch High School?
The entire amount of $131,565 will be used to purchase equipment, mount and install equipment, and to provide that connectivity between the two schools, so it's a redundant link to feed these access points.
What kind of equipment you talking about?
Equipment are things like wireless access points, much like you see right here, Bev, right here, but a weathered version of that, a weatherized version that sits out in the elements, as well as some network switches that are outdoor proof and so forth that we're going to be hanging on certain light posts, as well as on that new scoreboard for GMS and so forth.
Any questions? No questions? Don't make it so easy for Clint.
Happy.
I have a question.
There you go. All right, Ian.
Please.
So yeah, you mentioned the overlap between the work being done to improve the Wi-Fi on the field area and the upcoming field renovations, which passed in the past, thankfully. So we don't have a timeline yet for those field renovations because we're really just now just as a town approved it as a project going forward. We still have to secure contractors and all that kind of stuff, right? Or how much is baked in? I guess what I'm trying to identify here is, will there be a problem with racing to make sure we spend the dollars for the Wi-Fi improvements by June 30th of 2026, and anticipating that the field work is not going to be done, or even yet be begun by that time?
So
is there a chance that the stuff you do to improve the Wi-Fi could be dug up and have to be reformatted to accommodate the field work?
Not being intimately involved in the planning process and understanding what the implementation of a successful referendum is, I can't promise that that won't occur. That being said, where we're hanging these and so forth, and where the fiber line is going to, I am highly confident that will not impact anything they're doing. Plus, worst case scenario, if we move forward and are able to do this and implement, there's always an opportunity to reuse that equipment, modify that equipment, move it, what have you. So I think it would be, I am a huge proponent of accepting these dollars and moving forward with our project. And again, like I said, I've reached out to the town and asked them as soon as they're ready to include both myself and Tim Candy, our network engineer, so we can work through the particulars.
Right, and all those money, and obviously, it's not going to affect my support for moving forward with accepting the monies, for sure. It needs to be done. But I guess maybe just put a note of maybe there's a way to set up the equipment so it's like in a modular type fashion for the initial install, so that it can be removed and taken out of the way while the field work is done and then put back in. I don't know if that's even possible.
Yeah, no, certainly we will plan for that as an option.
All right. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you for your efforts.
Of course.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor of approving the Community Education Network Community Wi-Fi Grant in the amount of $131,565. Shannon, did you want to say anything? No. Okay. Say aye. Aye. That was you? Ian said aye. Jay?
Aye.
Okay. Any noes? So approved. Okay, thank you, Clinton. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. This is a committee of the whole meeting of the Groton Board of Education being held on Monday, November 10th, Central Office at 6:00 p.m. In attendance, we have Sean Corcoran, and we have Jen White, myself, Bev Washington, Adrian Johnson, Dean Antipas. Online, we have Dr. Ackerman, and we have, I don't see Ian, but I think he's still online there, and Jay Whitlock. And absent...
Look on the right-hand side.
Okay. And absent is Mike Whitney. First order of business is review the minutes of October 20th. Any corrections to the minutes on October 20th?
Well, I first move that we accept the October 20th minutes.
Okay. Second. Any corrections? Additions? No?
Second minutes.
Sean?
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes of October 20th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Noes? Jay, how do you vote, Jay? Jay, you there?
Sorry, aye.
Aye. Dr. A, how do you vote for the minutes? Okay. Ian, how do you vote for the minutes?
I'm in favor.
Okay.
Aye.
So we have one person didn't respond, that's Dr. A. So the minutes are passed, approved. Next is exciting today. We have discussion about the manufacturing center project with electric boat.
The dream.
And I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. I really have a team here to support us in this initiative. I wanted to start by saying that,
As you know, the old auto shop has been cleaned out to make room as a robotics center, manufacturing center, and we had an open house, and there was standing room only, and so many students and so many parents that I got to meet and talk to, and they were so enthusiastic. And I said, what would happen if you could take a course in robotics, engineering, architecture, and manufacturing? And we already have the pathway with all of those things, except the robotics is an extra add-on. And they said, really? The seniors said, can you do it this year? And some of the sophomores and juniors said, yeah, where can I sign up? I said, well, the robotics class we have to bring to the board. But there is a First Robotics, which is their organization for their after-school program, that has a curriculum that we can really look at. But this Field of Dreams is for our robotics team, the famous aluminum Falcon robotics team in Groton, but it's also for our kids who really see that as a dream in their career and a pathway. And it can become attached with college credit and all kinds of things, experiences and opportunities. So I feel like it is something that is going to really help our community. So we're going to start. Matt Brown is here, Principal Brown, who's been instrumental along with Sam Kilpatrick in making the space available. I also want to introduce, we have Bryce and Willie and Kathy from Electric Boat that have been partners with us. We have two of our wonderful representatives, Andre Baumgartner and Dan Gajewski. We have a new board member, upcoming board member coming, and Lori Ferguson, who is our consultant, who did this project in Coventry with Evie. So she's boots on the ground, has done this work. She's been so helpful to us. And Ben Moon, who does our elementary and coordinates STEM with the upper levels as well. And of course, Shannon Weigel, what would we do without Shannon? And Clint, and anybody else we can rope into this thing. It's like all hands on deck. So, very exciting. But Matt, you want to come up and talk about your Falcons Rising?
Yes. All right. Good evening, everyone. So, back in 2019, we were tasked with doing a NEASC accreditation, and one of the tasks was we had to come up with a vision of a graduate, which I think you guys are all aware is RISE. Really how we came up with that was one of the things the committee did was we invited town leaders, we invited leaders from EB, from Pfizer, the mayors, and we asked them, what is it that we really need? Like, if you had a graduate, what would the vision of the graduate be? What are the attributes that a citizen's going to need in order to be productive in this community and around the world? And that's where RISE came from. RISE stands for being a resilient individual. So you can't really achieve anything without grit, determination, and hard work. The I stands for innovative thinkers. So if we can generate students and graduates that are creative, that can critically think, then I think we're successful. The S stands for socially aware citizens, and I take a great pride, and I think that out of all of the attributes, I think socially aware is one that I'm most proud of, and I feel like the Fitch students are socially aware. They care about each other. They care about this world. They care about this town. And then lastly, engaged communicators. And what we stress with our kids with that last part is the engaged part, is, being a listener just as much as you are a speaker. So that's really, that's our vision, and that's what we sell to our students every day. And I think if we can create students that have those skills, they're going to be successful whatever they do. And this fits right in with our mission. Our mission is to create opportunities for every single student, for them to find their potential, to find their passion. And we know that this machine program could be an opportunity to create that passion and that talent, that some of our students have. They might not realize they have it yet, or they might know they have it, and now they'll have an opportunity to have something truly significant with this whole project. So we are extremely excited about it, and we can go to the next slide. All right, so another thing that we've really been working on at Fitch High School is building our pathways. All right, I think that we've done a nice job in the last few years of building these pathways. We are very proud of our Ed Rising program, where it's developing teachers. If Dr. Mitchell is out there, I think he'd be extremely happy, because he's always used to stress the importance of having Groton students come back and be Groton teachers. So that's been awesome. Our medical pathway has grown significantly. That's with both our nursing program, which is doing really well, and then our EMT program. We have paths for them, for our students in that field. NJROTC is a new program that we have, and we're building all these different programs. And manufacturing is one that we need a little assistance, and I think that this is going to be the bump that we can get in order to really create a department of robotics, engineering, architecture, and manufacturing. So, I think we're all extremely excited for this, and just to see the people in this room, this is a great moment for Fitch High School. Next slide. And I love this picture right here. This is from a couple years ago, when we first started having our meetings, and I feel like it's longer than 2 years ago. Resilience, talk about, this whole time, and, not really seeing progress until all of a sudden that the shop is now opened up, and seeing things actually getting sent there has been awesome. I love this picture too, because there's Fitch graduates that are in that picture from EB, some of my old football players, which I thought was pretty cool. One of their fathers, and then one of my centers from one of the first years I coached football. So I just think that's a perfect picture of the Fitch High School, the town of Groton, and how we can even strengthen that partnership we have with EB with this opportunity. So we're extremely excited for that. I don't know if you want to add more to that, Steve.
No, I think it started back then, and you see Mark Romano's in the picture, and remember EB, one of the first gifts they gave us were the new scoreboards on the new fields. It does have a submarine on it, but it has a whole lot more too, and it's been wonderful. So, and Chelsea Courtwright is in the picture, and I know she's online, and she got the Congressman Courtney grant to be the career pathway coordinator for several years through those dollars, and Melissa Manzione, who runs our CTE program. All of these people in the schools and in the central office and our board has been so supportive of this, and supportive of our robotics team getting them home to Fitch, which is really a big accomplishment, and a lot of hard work from everybody, including some of those robotics kids and their families, so, and Sam and the team. So we'll switch slides. So really, this has been building a strategic partnership with the Naval Base, General Dynamics. We've got other companies that we were told are in this. So it's not only Electric Boat, but there's many manufacturers in this community that are looking for skilled work people. And so it's really important that, our kids know what are the possibilities for them in their future if they're interested in this area. And we're really trying to meet the needs of the expanding population and the population of people who are doing this work. Demand of over 1,000 workers in the next 10 years. I don't know, do you think that number's accurate?
I think this one's talking just manufacturing. Electric boat is definitely going to be a very large number,
Yeah,
which
even
we'll
bigger,
talk
right.
on the EV slide.
Yeah. So we'll keep going. So this is really about wages. So Will Barber has been instrumental. So why don't you come up here? You've been the other partner in the partnership.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
we're so happy to
yes.
have you and working with
Absolutely.
us.
Yeah.
And then this is pretty significant about some of the kids who actually sign off after they go through the boat program before they graduate from high school. We've had a couple every year. And they have opportunities like this, these wages and training too.
Yeah.
That goes with it.
Yeah, so I'm Willie Barber, General Dynamics Electric Boat. I do all of our strategic partnerships. So I do K-12 programming, I do CTE programming. I'm helping get skill sets to our youth, but also adult prior to hire. So when you're looking at what our demand signal is, that's why we're going out and doing what we're doing. So right now I'm looking around at the 2026 demand signal when we're putting in this program. So looking at 2026, we are going to be hiring. We're not just hiring Groton, we're also hiring in Quonset Point, right? And with that, a big part of our hiring is not just, engineers, but it's also machinists. So that's why this program is great to have both, right? Those learning for both. Those that may enter right out of high school are going to be earning, based on their skill level, at the range here where you're seeing around that 23, dependent on skill level. Could be more, could be a little higher if it's a CTE program or a certain trade. But in general, this is an 18-year-old, right? So this is an 18-year-old that has the ability to continue to increase their wage every 6 months until they are 22, 23, when others may be exiting college. So that's one part of why we brought this together. While at the same breath, I think I'm going to talk this on the next slide.
You want to turn this
We'll turn the next slide. We also are partnering with the University of Connecticut and URI's Navy STEM career. So we're looking at what are these students learning if they are going to go to college for engineering that we could get out of the way in high school with this space. So we're looking at teaching the whole student, building the whole K-16 pipeline here, because we need them all. So looking at that for strategic partnerships, we came to the table, so we started working together years ago, a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, because we started doing elementary school programming a while back. And with that, we've supported with a lot of recruitment programs. We've kind of laid the groundwork with our younger age programs. And now we're at the table to support our manufacturing program where we're looking to partner with the Navy's Maritime Industrial Base with equipment, tooling, materials, and teacher training. So the Navy's Maritime Industrial Base is a funding resource that we've leveraged for a lot of similar initiatives to help expand training capacity for high school CTE programs, as well as some community colleges and universities. Also, we're not just partnering here, we also want our suppliers. So our suppliers are going to be a big part of this as well. So if any of you guys get the chance to be on buildsubmarines.com, that's another resource to look at what small to medium-sized businesses are taking on machinists or engineers. So you'll see when you look up Groton on buildsubmarines.com, there's a lot of other companies outside of EV that are hiring. So just want to say it's not just an EV effort. So We also have been leveraging and working with UConn for curriculum. I don't know if you want to briefly talk a little bit about UConn Navy STEM and what you guys have done and what we're looking to advance.
Happy to. So I'm Bryce Anderson. I'm the program manager for the UConn URI Navy STEM Coalition. So our partnership at UConn and URI with our funding electric boat and the maritime industrial base. And so we have 17 different key programmatic areas focused on, K through grade, basically. So introducing that STEM is cool to an elementary school student, that they can do it. It's something that, they shouldn't take off the table. And then, as that interest and as they progress throughout their education, helping to expose them to more opportunities and greater alternatives. And so, this partnership, especially with the Groton School District, allows us to say, to tell students that they can do a 4-year degree, and that's awesome. And we have, we support undergraduate research, we support graduate research, we provide funding to those pursuing PhDs, but we also say that that's not for everyone, and that you really do need opportunities, to get right in the workforce, to learn a trade. And so with this partnership, we are thrilled that, we can provide some resources, some, expertise from some of our professors too on what it takes to develop a machine shop, and, how you can really, utilize that best for education.
Great. That's awesome. So thanks, Bryce. So this has essentially been a big, huge part of this. And I think there's one more slide I want to talk to real quick, is this program. So we've been running a program at the Westerly Education Center and at the MAC at Crosso Tech. It's an after-school exposure program. It's called Vote for Next Gen. It gets the students excited. They get to work with their hands on different core trade areas we're hiring for. We've been seeing interest. We've been running this program across Rhode Island and Connecticut. Actually, last year alone, we ran over 20 cohorts of this program happening with different schools across the region. And just last year alone, we hired over 400 high school students right out of high school. So we run a high school signing day, and we do have some past graduates we're going to talk about today, too, that are successful stories. But next to nothing, this has been a great success with our partnership, and we're just about to take it to the next level. So, yeah.
Okay, I think we have another slide about the...
Oh, yes. So, Chelsea and Ben, I don't know if you want to kick this one off, and then I can jump in. Yeah, because you've definitely been a major factor here. Yeah.
Well, when Willie was talking about how we started a lot of this work in elementary, this is year 4 of doing the EB Vote for Kids program in elementary schools. So, as you were talking, I was thinking, those kids will be freshmen next year.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to take advantage of all the good things that are happening. So, but EB has been a great partner in building interest and sustaining interest in like manufacturing and engineering. As I mentioned, we've been doing the Vote for Kids program in grade 5. Started 4 years ago, and the enrollment in that program and the amount of kids we've been able to reach has been steadily growing over the years. We offer STEM and STEAM camps, K through 8, that have been highly popular. Kids get exposure to engineering, robotics. We've had the manufacturing lab come down.
So we've also worked with our robotics team to create robotics camps, a couple weeks of those too.
Yep. Yeah, in addition to being an awesome robotics team, they're fantastic ambassadors too. They've come down and led these camps, visit schools, and really kind of get kids excited and interested in these programs. So the partnerships have been absolutely fantastic in helping to build that pipeline.
Yeah.
And then there's the mobile labs. You've seen pictures. I do put those in board notes every time we've had different events.
Yeah, so we helped fund the mobile manufacturing lab with EastCon for a lot of different events. We also did a Deloitte STEM Day as well last year. I don't know if anybody saw that, but it was at the middle school where we supported middle schoolers to create critical thinking skills, work on solving a problem. And we made it very focused on the submarine industry relative to supply chain. So we have been there with Groton Public Schools for a few years now with different partnerships and programs that I think even this is just kind of scratching the surface. So yeah, this is very exciting, and I'm happy you guys are here to learn about all of these exciting things. Yeah, that's it for me.
I can dive into some of our programs.
Yeah, okay.
So as we have 17 programs, there are a few of our summer camp programs listed here too, and one in classroom. Oh, no, all right, so a mix of our programs. So as I mentioned, that through the K through grade model, it's really, insisting or providing, the opportunity for exposure to students throughout their educational career, and allowing for, that it might be the best way to meet some students either in the classroom, which we do with our Sea Perch Explorers, which is bringing in some of our staff into the classroom with Sea Perch robots. I don't know if anyone's familiar. I can do.
They're robots that go underwater.
Yes.
And
the students can learn how to.
There's a Project Lead the Way class that is taking that on again. They had done it, and then there was a little lull, but they got reignited.
And so the students with that learn how to solder, they learn how to cut PVC, they learn, following very specific build instructions, which is, it's a low risk, it's a relatively nominally low cost, but it's great exposure to, working with your hands and building something, and following the rules too. That's a big part of the Sea Perch model. Our Anchor PEP program is it's 6 weekends that we do throughout the fall, so it's pre-engineering, and it's bringing in 6th, 7th, 8th grade students to the UConn campus in Hartford, and giving them hands-on, STEM education programs. And then Vote for Kids is one of our great programs that we do. So we did it for 2 weeks over the summer at Avery Point, 1 week in Hartford, and now we're going to 8 weeks throughout. And so it is a free summer camp. We have 30 kids a week that we bring in, just learning, again, STEM, learning about some of the core EB trades, and it's a really good opportunity for Groton kids coming over to Avery Point too. So it was 2 weeks last year, and we're looking at 3 or more in this upcoming summer.
And Chelsea Courtwright is there behind the scenes, but she has been a real proponent of the VOTE program, especially looking for our seniors who are still grappling with and not knowing what they want to do when they graduate. And so tapping them on the shoulders has been a great resource.
And I'm not going to stop either.
Okay, thank you. Oh, you wanted me to come to the mix?
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Wasn't reading the room. Okay, and next, I think this is the introduction of the 2 young men who...
Are you okay if I talk from here?
No.
Okay, so this is just two examples of success stories of Fitch grads from 2024. They were undecided. They did the Next Gen program, and they are still at EB right now. However, there's only 2, right? So our hope is by actually, building this program, having more than 2 each year. Because you said the number 400, and I think we could do better than 2 out of 400. So, but Jesse and Matt, we're very proud of them and what they've accomplished over the last 2 years working at EP.
Right. We definitely want more
Oh, yeah.
from Groton.
Oh, yeah.
I think there was someone in your organization at the top who was saying, where are all my Groton kids? Where
Yeah.
are those Fitch kids?
Yeah, so we definitely want to see more, especially with our hiring and how it's going. It's going in an upward trajectory, so, yeah.
And so the next is really Ben back to show us what's happening at our elementary and our intra-district magnets. And our board members know this because they've been supporting this intra-district magnet program and all that happens in there, and then what happens in the middle school and the high school.
Yeah, and one of the things that's really exciting about this is that it's really a K through 12 pathway that we have here in Groton. Catherine Kolnaski Steam Magnet School, as part of their magnet team, has been providing engineering, computer science, and robotics to kids for a number of years. And those are all guaranteed experiences for all kids K-5 at Catherine Kolnaski. We survey kids every year, and every year we're graduating kids from 5th grade at CK with super high interests in those subjects. So it's great that this program continues to build and develop K through 12 because we have a lot of kids that develop those interests early, which is great. At our other Magna elementary schools, we've been pushing out robotics and engineering and computer science enrichment experiences, especially at Barnum and Mystic River, where they have those enrichment blocks built in to their schedule. We've had more and more teachers get interested in wanting to bring those to those schools, so that's been fantastic. We've also, for a number of years now, been doing a summer robotics mini camp for grades 4 and 5. Sells out really, really quick every year. It's been great to have the Aluminum Falcons come down and help out with those programs too. So it really starts early. I heard somebody say we want to make sure we get kids interested young when they're making decisions about the things they like, they don't like, the things they're interested in or not. And we have a lot of kids here in Groton that are into these subjects. So.
All right. And then middle school, Peter could not be here, but as you can see, there's a plethora of Project Lead the Way courses. And when we looked at the number, it's like every single student at Groton Middle School is able to take, a course almost every single year or two. So it's really very full, and everything from automation and robotics to computer science, light and space, green architecture, design and modeling. I think design and modeling is the 6th grade course that they all go through as the basic foundation. And then next, at Fitch High School, coming soon, we hope, robotics, but you've had engineering courses, intro to engineering, principles of engineering, design and development, so you can see, and even manufacturing, which really was the beginning stage with woodwork. We still have a wood shop. I think that's been cleaned out also, so that it can be a working wood shop and we can actually get in there and do something with it. But it can also be a space for robotics as well, and it's cleaned up for during the day. So, and then this, I thought, Willie, you could probably help me with this, because this is the slide that shows, and Matt, you too, speak to this slide, because this one shows the 24-year and the 25-year. And it looks like the thing that really shot out at me was a lot of our children are taking advantage of the 2-year college. And I don't know what happens after that, but our community colleges don't charge. So it's a great advantage for kids to access college after they graduate. And there might be a shift in there. There also may be a shift. I know that Sean McEwen is on the line, and he's from the Connecticut State Department of Education, overseeing the whole career pathway. And he may be able to speak to this too, that we do see a need to make sure that when we say college and career, it's not just college, it's college and career, and it's ultimately careers, really, that we want kids to be ready for.
Yeah, and I think too often we think every kid needs to go to college, and we're so concerned about that, the high percentage of kids going to college, and I think the 20-25 kid is not always, there's other opportunities for our students. So, and the allure of something like this, an opportunity like this, where you're not going to be leaving a 4-year college in major debt is something that is interesting as well for a lot of our students. And as you look here, both years, we're at about 75% of our students went to a 4-year or 2-year college, but that leaves 25% of our other students where we want more than 2 of them to have an opportunity like this. So I think this is an awesome opportunity.
And already many of them are choosing to serve in their country, and it's a very proud thing when 30 will stand at graduation and say they're going to enlist or serve or go to an academy. And then the other portion is technical training, so a lot are already interested in these STEM areas anyway when they graduate. Sean, did you want to say anything to us? I know you're online. I don't know if you
I can add that this is the numbers that we're seeing here are
nationwide and statewide as well. The increased percentage of students who are choosing to go to one of our branches of CT State, and many of them are also leaving to go into a technical career afterwards. So this is not just a trend that's happening in Groton. And to echo Mr. Brown's comments about the 2025 and the 2026 graduate is presented with new data and new information that the students of 2016 were not, and that essentially is the promising workforce that's ahead of them, and in weighing the options of paying for a 4-year degree versus going directly into employment, and then doing, let's say, like a 10-year calculation, almost like that game of life that we play. And a lot of them are economically coming out ahead by choosing a career in particularly advanced manufacturing. On that topic, we do have some common goals within this project and from our State Board of Education of increasing the amount of pathways to careers that are high skill, high wage, and in demand. And also paired with one of our 3 priority industries from our Governor's Workforce Council, where advanced manufacturing is one of those 3 priority industries. So, to kind of have Groton do their own version of these goals is amazing, because we're aligning with all of the numbers that are in place within the state, saying that we need jobs here. Within the Governor's Workforce Council report, in 2024, 80% of manufacturers in Connecticut reported trouble finding employees. That's a large number. And I think that coming to that call in the town of Groton with an industry partner like General Dynamics Electric is a beautiful opportunity for this community.
Thank you. And I see Melissa Manzione. She's another one of our cheerleaders running the CTE department and tapping kids on shoulders and getting them interested in some of these partnership programs. Because not only would they be going into a job, but they're getting highly trained and skilled, and they're getting their own education in and of itself, too. So, thank you. Did you want to say anything, Melissa?
No, I'm really happy to have this opportunity to try to find students at our high school to offer them a different opportunity in life, a different pathway, because not all our kids are ready for college, and maybe, even taking some of these courses that we want to offer them will give them experience to say, hey, maybe this is something I'm interested in. Maybe not right now, but possibly it could be a path I choose in life. And I love how more kids are going to the CT State, because I think, I hate to keep going back to it, but I think COVID did a number on the maturity level of some students. They really did another year to mature with being socialized. So just giving students another chance to experience different things is really a huge initiative, and I'm very grateful to be here to help pave the way. Thank you.
And I think I heard from my ED friends and from Sean, it's also, if you're an engineer, it's also good for you to know how to build the thing. If you're designing something and creating something new, it's really important that you have that hands-on experience. I mean, for any of us in our fields, you think about where you started. It's so good to have that foundation level of whatever we've done, and even as you progress through. So I think it was a combination of people who had made that, and it just, that really clicked with me, too.
And Susan, can I add something else to that
Sure.
point as well? I know we're kind of putting 2 different camps against each other, going to college or not going to college, but what you're also finding is quite common is a student would leave to go directly into the workforce, and that company that they work for will invest back into their employees and will pay that student to go now to college to earn either a 2 or 4 year degree to advance within their system as well. So just because you decide to go into the workforce directly at 18 years old does not mean that you are going to be stuck on the shop floor doing that entry-level position that you were doing at 18 years old. Because all of these companies that we speak to day in, day out are saying, no, we pay tuition to get tuition reimbursement. We have programs to prepare next-generation engineers that started off in manufacturing floor. So this industry in Connecticut is booming. We make a lot of advanced things in this state. And that's just something that we have so many levels of different careers, including automation and robotics as well. I mean, we're just talking precision machining right now, but precision machines are essentially a big giant robot as well. Think about that.
Yeah, that's right. We've seen them in action when we visited even.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And now Lori Ferguson, who's been our consultant, and for 4 months, but we met her at Cox
2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah, and where she had done this project with electric boats, so she comes to us with a lot of experience and helping us to navigate this whole thing.
And thank you for having me tonight. So I just want to inform you on our progress so far. We have conducted a facilities assessment, and as you know, we have moved the robotics club to the auto shop. We have, Sam has been incredible with his team in getting that space ready, the floor, the walls, everything cleaned out and ready for safety and compliance. And the nice thing about the space is while our vision 2 years ago was really to bring a manufacturing center to Groton, we have really expanded that to include this Department of STEM, right? All of these STEM courses, really interconnecting them and being able to use this shop so that kids can get such a broad range of experiences, not just manufacturing or not just engineering, but actually take courses in all of that and really become well-rounded and then decide, what they want to do. So we have completed a facilities and space assessment. We have also completed a program planning assessment, so we are ready for equipment, tooling, storage. All of our needs to start a machine shop have been done, and we are ready to move forward. Go ahead. School and community awareness. This is really where we want to have you be our cheerleaders, and everyone here and whoever is watching this meeting to, really talk about the excitement that Fitch is creating right now, and to talk about the opportunities that we're bringing to the Groton district. And so this is one of our, awareness events where we're letting you know and have you support us as well as we move forward. And of course, we want to inform our parents and the community through open house and newsletters and hopefully some press conferences or press releases to the newspaper, and really shout out to the area that we are moving forward with a really great Department of STEAM. Go ahead. And then our stakeholder engagement, we have had a huge team behind us moving this vision forward. We have identified our curriculum for both robotics and the manufacturing program, and we are ready to move with that as well. And what we have left is enrolling our students, making sure our families are aware and our community knows about this program, and then marketing the program and enrolling our students. And then finally, when we are ready, we hope to implement and launch this very soon. Robotics will definitely be launched next year, correct? Yeah.
We're hoping. We have to go to the board.
Yes.
With our curriculum.
Our vision is that it will be running next year, and that will be the beginning. Any questions?
Jen?
Thank you, Beverly. I actually have a question for you. So, yes, you had mentioned that there was an assessment that was completed. Maybe at another session, you can actually present the findings of that assessment to the board, so that we're not, so that we have data, and then a timeline, please, because soon. What is soon? Thank you.
There was this slide, so we'll
There
get
was,
that.
yeah,
We tried to
okay.
reduce the slides, we knew that this was a lot,
Yep.
so this was our first out-of-the-gate introduction to it.
No, that's fine. That's why I said next time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Dean was first.
Thanks. So a couple of things. I'm going to go on both sides. I'll sort of play devil's advocate with myself. I've expressed concern before about, what we've done in this state is we have public schools for general education, and we have tech schools. And I can remember being in 8th grade and being presented by, this presentation by, I was in Stanford, so it was Wright Technical School. Hey, if you want to, you can not go to professional high school, you can go to tech school. It seemed to me even then like a big choice that I had to make, or that kids would have a big choice to make. And you feel like, okay, I'm going to go one of two tracks, and once you choose one, you can never take the other track, kind of thing. So I understand that, on the one hand, I want to make public school sort of tech school light. I had mentioned this before with respect to the cooking program, et cetera. On the other hand, maybe there was room for sort of a gray area where kids knew they didn't want to go into a tech school, but they also don't want to go down the other waterfall either necessarily. So I get that. I have a concern, too, about an over-narrowing of the education process. In other words, we're supposed to generally educate the kids. So there's that. And I also have a concern, and I'll get to my pros, I also have a concern about there appears to be sort of a withering away of what I'll call the classical humanities at the higher education level. There's been such a push for STEM in this country at all levels, where now I don't think this is a result of there are other forces at work, but we're seeing diminishing numbers of history majors, diminishing numbers of, like I said, the classical humanities majors. I think a lot of that may be driven by not so much a lack of interest, but by the fact that you're looking at paying you-know-what per year, even with a discount of some sort, graduating. I recall some years ago there was a suit or a proposed suit by PhD graduates saying, hey, effectively we were promised that if we went all the way with a doctorate, we get a professorship, in the English department. It turns out that this country is graduating more PhDs and whatnot than there are positions. We were lied to by all our advisors all along the way. So that's a great part of why I think some of those classical humanities are winnowing. On the other hand, so much of what we've done, and what's classically been done for education, has been sort of hands-off. It's all been theoretical. Boy, wouldn't I have loved to have actually had physical contact with various things when I was in school. I had to make up for that basically by taking things apart at home, sometimes being able to put them back together again. By that mainspring and a wind-up clock, that doesn't go back in. So I would have appreciated that. So I think that's the value here. A lot of kids either, I think they don't know, and they might be triggered by something. So overall, I'm in favor of this exposure, and I laud the effort. But again, I always want to keep the other eye on, careful that we don't overly narrow the kids' education. So that's great that they graduate with certain skills, or they've been oriented in the direction where they weren't oriented at all before. But I don't know how to say, by the way, you can go to college, you can go to tech, you can major in history too. It's okay, you don't have to go to STEM. You can major in history too. It's like those kids are sort of left, but how do I justify the cost of, go a couple $100,000 in debt so you can get a BA in history. My own middle kid graduated with a degree in linguistics. If my father was alive, but he doesn't have the debt, fortunately. We were able to do that, but that's not something you can sort of open up the newspaper and look at a want ad and say, wanted linguist. So he's got an unconventional path. So I get this. I may think of the other thing I was going to say before the night's over, but thank you for the time and letting me spout.
Thank you. Thank you all for the presentation. This is all very exciting stuff. And I appreciate the efforts to work cooperatively with the robotics, and hopefully all things could coexist and support each other without co-opting resources necessarily. Just for I guess, just to be in concert with what we would kind of like try to do as a board, what Jen requested for, to come back with a more detailed dive into the assessment and the timeline. Is that something that we have consensus as a board, that we desire that to happen? I know I'm in favor of that. And Jen, obviously, you're in favor of that.
We could take a vote on that later. Or we could take who's in favor and who's in...
A quick consensus?
Mm-hmm. We could do that later. We're just doing questions
Okay.
now.
Well, that being said, I do empathize with Dean's concerns as far as like overall, and I think we'll look at this, we look at the curriculum and moving forward with this and trying to integrate this into the existing educational framework at Fitch. But as far as like civics and humanities, it's great to have people that can manufacture and do stuff, but we also have to function as a society. So, we got to look at that balance to make sure that we're still maintaining that.
Well, and that's where your graduate, expectations are in, and even at the elementary, really the majority of their time is in that core curriculum. It's in reading and writing in the very beginning and science, and these experiences are actually additional experiences that they have during their day to explore. We want little kids to explore and use their hands and use their minds to thinking. But the heart of schooling has always been, in kind of the classics, or the reading and the writing and the math and the science. And those core areas are still in our graduate requirements. And I know that the team is looking right now at graduation requirements, and that's coming to policy, so we'll be taking a deeper dive. So we're not saying this is taking away from that. This is almost giving kids more experiences to explore and to really find out, at the end of the day in 12th grade, I want kids to know what they're good at and what they like to do, at least a little idea. I mean, I think if we have them 12 years and they've had that exploration and some deep dives into areas, that they should be able to know, so that they at least know what path they want to take next. And that wouldn't be let me just try this or that.
And to that, and I definitely wanted to commend and make note that of all the voting stuff that you put in there, looking at that, especially given our geographic location, getting kids on the water, and showing how that can produce a pathway to a career as well.
Yeah.
So there's that. And yeah, I'm all in favor of immersive experiences. Experiential education is probably the most effective way to open up a child's perception. Thank you.
Sean, did you want to say anything to address the whole, it's not college versus career, it's really trying to find what's best for each kid?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to a couple of points here. Just to visit the CTEX topic for a second. The technical high school system in our state does have a substantial waiting list, and a good percentage of students who actually do not get in, who want to go in. So even if you were interested in possibly pursuing that route, there's no guarantee that you will be accepted into one of the schools that's closest to where you live. So having programs that can fill that void in comprehensive high schools does a really beautiful thing. It provides that technical skill-based education in a comprehensive high school. And our CTEC schools do not provide that experience. They're obviously going to be much stronger on the first part, while also providing a secondary education as well. And also, I agree with the points about the historians and the linguists. We don't want to forget about our humanities. We do not. That's obviously one of the two buckets of our graduation requirements, our STEM humanities. But schools and districts who are opening programs like this, or who run successful programs like this, are tapped into Connecticut's labor data. And to the two gentlemen's point a second ago, if you look at projected growth in current openings across different occupational sectors in our state, you're not seeing a tremendous demand for historians. You're not seeing a tremendous demand for linguists. You are seeing a tremendous for mental health needs, for healthcare, and for manufacturing, right, and IT. Those are the big components right now. So it's wise for schools to offer these programs because the student doesn't have to live in that shop their entire experience in the high school. It's a component of their comprehensive education, and also with the work-based learning opportunities that follow with shops and labs like this, these students are not only learning in their classroom, they can learn at an employer as well as part of their coursework. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. My first question, and you'll probably have to get back to me on this.
Okay.
How many new teachers will be hired with this program? Will EB contribute to the new positions? And he's talking from the state. Will the state contribute to any of this?
I'd love to say yes, yes, and yes. But really, we have a position that we have not rehired that has been in the budget, but because the person left, we didn't find someone qualified for what he was doing. We have another who may be retiring. So we could have potentially 2 positions that are already in our budget for teachers. EB will do the training, so they would do like an expert job no matter who we got, and I could certainly work with Sean on that too, because he would know people in the state and the certifications. So we do have partners that can help us find the just right person and then help us with the training. And EB has talked about helping us with some of the equipment and the tooling, and that's out there too. That would benefit us, that wouldn't cost us. There's also a lot of tools and equipment that are in that shop that I think the robotics team is happy to get into and sort through and find some things that they could continue to use. And I think, Sean, there is a Perkins grant that we received, and I understand there could be additional Perkins funds, too, for a project such as this.
And we'll need all this in writing to make sure it's going to happen.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So we cannot promise funds for teachers or for equipment. What I can help is in consultation with your Perkins Grant administrator on how to most effectively use your yearly entitlement grant to help make this program what it can be. We also do offer an annual, what's called a Perkins supplemental grant. That is not an entitlement grant like your annual grant. That is a competitive grant. And the districts who are typically awarded this grant are starting projects just like what you're talking about right now. That grant is for $25,000 to $50,000, and it's a very short, aggressive timeline to write the grant and to implement the purchases of that grant. That typically comes out in the springtime. I can help who's ever going to write that grant understand the context of it and how to write the best grant. But if I'm one of the reviewers of that, I do also need to recuse myself from spending too much investments in one particular district and not other ones as well.
Yeah, because we'll need some startup money because last year our budget was cut $1.4 million. So I don't see us having the funds to put a lot of money into this.
Well, I think it's going to be a gradual thing. I think the robotics is one of the first ones, and that curriculum happens to be free from First Robotics, and we have a lot of equipment already. So we'll have to really, we've got the timeline, so I need to get you all that deep information. But there are other, I know serving on the anchor board with Bryce, that there are ways that we can even provide Yukon credit to some of these things and ways that we can also go to them to see. I know with DODEA, there could be potential with Department of Defense once we get the government working again and back. But we will definitely, and the town supported us with the CIP grant, and those funds have been used to help with the clean-out project and to help us get containers and, get our robotics back and get that room ready to be a manufacturing center. So the town has also supported us in this with a $100,000 CIP. So
I think this question probably would be more since we'd be adding new high school courses, which one would we stop teaching to keep the total course number the same?
It would be difficult for me to determine that right now.
But I think we would look at history and trends.
New courses, so it has to be give and take somewhere. So we need an answer to that. The other question is, can we bundle in some STEM tutors to help with manufacturing and other core math performance?
I mean, there could be potential for that. Yep.
So you can get back to me on all these questions. But otherwise, it seems like a great program. And go ahead, Adrian.
All right. Well, thank you. I was going to ask, are there offsets in our program of studies? So if we're increasing offerings, and, some things just seem to go away, like the auto shop did a few years back. So maybe this would be a time to look at the program of studies and kind of reallocate resources where we
I
see
agree.
the need. And this seems like a great program.
It's all about supply and demand, right? And the kids they kind of tell us when they're not signing up for the classes that this is no longer something that they need. So we do have to look at that carefully.
I agree with that, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So one of the things, does the space that we have, and maybe this realignment, I know the wood shop is probably, it's used a little bit, but it's underutilized now.
Mhm.
Do we have the square footage in Fitch to accomplish what we're talking about here? Or may we need additional square footage, or maybe remote buildings or remote storage buildings to try to offset? Have we looked into that yet?
We have really done walkthrough after walkthrough with our consultant, with this team. We have looked everywhere, but just with Sam's work in cleaning out this huge space in the auto shop, the wood shop is also a good, solid space. It's really could have been a two-bay garage, huge. And so just by cleaning it out, there's working space, a lot of working space, and even an area like almost half and half that you can do some woodworking, because I still think that that's a component. And we do use the woodworking shop with the drama department, with the robotics team, so that's still valuable. And then computer labs. We have a couple computer labs that have really great equipment. Clint has done a great job with robotics, seeing what their needs are with technology, and worked with and walked through with them. So we're kind of all on it, finding the spaces. They still have an aluminum Falcon silver door, double closet, and I think it's almost cleared out. They've got one part, and then the other part is getting cleared out. So we have really looked for every possible space to make this really doable. And most of the spaces are right around the auto shop. There's a few spaces that they might have to walk down the hall.
So, but just to go back, so we do have enough space underneath the roof right now?
Right now, unless this thing grows so big and, you need to put a condo
Well, for the plan that we're looking at right now. We have enough, enough square footage for that. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate this.
It's not a question, but more of a comment. I'm in support of this. Groton is socioeconomic, very diverse, right? And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And some of our students that go to our school district, they may have parents, grandparents, they don't know, right? And if you're going to be 18-year-old and have the potential to make $66,000, and some of the people that we're currently living with may not even make that, this can break or close the the gap within Groton. And so this is really a worthwhile investment, not only for the kids now, but in the future. So
thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. And did our representatives want to say anything? Do you think there's any funding at the state I could get? Do you want to come up? Yeah.
Thank you first off, thank you, Superintendent and Chair Watson and members of the board for having Representative Baumgartner and I. I had a quick question. In the presentation, I had seen that you had two good student success stories. I wanted to know how many students you had taking all those courses, and then kind of what was your capture rate of people going on to those manufacturing careers?
I don't know. Can you speak to that, Matt?
The courses around the ones that we're talking about aren't, the machining isn't one of the courses that we have right now.
Yeah.
And then with COVID, a lot of our courses have kind of, they're just starting to get back. So most of these kids are coming from that Next Gen program, where we had about 10 to 11 kids each year be part of that program the last couple of years. if that answers your question.
Yeah, kind of. I wanted to know if you had any hard numbers, but it seems like we're still in the early stages,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing those hard numbers come on. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Excellent. And it wasn't too long ago I was here, maybe just a few weeks ago, and a long time no see. Great to be with you all, and congratulations to each and every one of you who ran for local office and was successful, and look forward to working with you to support our next generation here in Groton. Really excited about this project. Have spent a lot of time talking with Superintendent Austin, many folks within the district, and Electric Boat representatives from Electric Boat about the project. Ross says hello, Willie. Great to see you, and thank you for your leadership and partnership on this as well. It is so exciting to see Groton pursue this. As was mentioned, so many surrounding school districts have made strides to incorporate the trades within their school districts, primarily at the high school level, as we've seen in Coventry, Westbrook, I believe, and now here in Groton, right?
Yeah.
And what better place than the submarine capital of the world to really be leaders in this space. So I think it'll be a great opportunity for the students to augment, obviously, the great core education that's already happening. We talked a little bit about funding, right? Exploring Perkins grants available through SDE, both also on the supplemental side of things. I think that really ought to be explored. But one thing that could be pursued, while school districts cannot directly apply for community investment funds, they can apply through the town. So at this time, there is a round open that closes December 6th. The town council did vote for a block of projects that would be town projects. But with that said, nothing would be precluding the school district to engage with the town on those conversations and to explore also submitting an application. And if not for this round, most certainly the next round as well. But I mentioned that because that, again, the current application window is open for that round 6. And so without obviously pressuring the district and our partners to sort of provide that timeline, I think it would certainly be helpful as far as kind of our asks are concerned at the state level, outside of obviously the work you do with SDE, which is so amazing. And just want to obviously give a huge round of applause to your team who has been so gung-ho about applying for grants directly to the State Department of Education and on the federal side with DODEA, really punching above your weight class. So flowers your way, of course. And
Yeah.
and it obviously takes a village, but really appreciate all the work the district is collectively doing, Ben as well, and yes, here to support this great opportunity for our kiddos.
And then just to circle back kind of on the funding request, I know for myself, Rep. Baumgartner and I have submitted letters of support for various projects across our community, whether it's through our schools and stuff. So that's always something, if you're ever putting in for a grant for a state, let us know, so we could potentially write a letter of support and make the phone calls with the connections we have at the state.
That'd be great.
And then there's also general bonding, which is separate from the Community Investment Fund. So you just basically, if you have a funding request, we can potentially put in a general bonding fund. We are currently.
Is that with the state?
Yeah, that's with the state. That's through our legislative delegation. So reach out to the delegation on that. That is very difficult. It's very rare that general bonding dollars are aware, but it doesn't hurt to put in for it. And it's relatively a simple application. Projects that tend to get better funding are our manufacturing projects, early child care. Those are really big, more bonding that just in the education realm. Those are the ones that I would recommend going kind of that realm as well. It's just something to keep in mind. It is very difficult, but it doesn't hurt. So just let us know if you have,
Thank you.
I remember, I believe you, before I got to the legislature, you had put in a funding request for the kitchens at the high school. So that's something like that would be, just let us know, and we're happy to try and work our magic a little bit.
Appreciate that. And Lori, with your expertise in Coventry, you said you did work closely with EB and you found other grants, and so you've done this walk before, so I look to you for your expertise. And I would like to work with you to get some things written down for the board to say, here are some of the possibilities. And we do have a slide, it's in my mind, with, what the game plan, what the timeline is. So we definitely will bring that back to you and give you more details on that.
We did have a slide with the implementation of the courses. So starting with robotics next year and then proceeding from there.
And I would note, I think it's really advantageous that all of your stakeholders sort of have skin in the game with respect to funding commitments. So, the town council, right, $100,000 CIP, I'll
That was
take
great.
it, right?
That was
Anything
great.
for the town council these days.
I know, that was a win, for sure.
But that makes a huge difference, because
It
that's
does.
something you can also go to the state and say, look, we've already had the support from the town to do the design and assessment of
space.
feasibility of the space, and then certainly the support from Electric Boat as well for the project goes a long way in the eyes of the reviewers.
They could have picked another town, but they picked us.
Oh,
Because we are the first and finest.
Yes. Yeah, I heard they're obsessed with this town called Waterford these days.
I know, a lot of good press.
Yeah, so time to bring some great programming to the hometown team. So, but hey, it takes a village, as I mentioned earlier, and it's really great to see that the wealth is being spread all across the region. It just goes to show, what a great opportunity this is for our future.
All right, well, I can't thank you all enough for being here, and safe travels back, but we really thank all of you for your expertise.
I just have one question. We've talked a lot about funding and grants and different things. Do we have an understanding of what this would likely cost to administer? Do we have a budget? Do we have a guess?
Yeah.
This is why you got elected.
Come back with
we'll come back
with a budget, a timeline,
And the assessment.
and any questions that were asked tonight to get answers to. So we'll schedule them to come back to another COW meeting, probably in December. I don't see it happening in November.
The classes that both you and Adrian mentioned, like how to counterbalance.
Yeah. Any questions? We'll have the question. I have my questions, and I'm sure the questions are on tape. So any questions that were asked tonight, plus the course of the program, timeline, and assessment. And anything else that we need to know.
Thank goodness we videotape, because we get all, I can go back and watch and see what I need to do.
And thank you, Ian, want to say
No,
something?
it's good that we record these things.
Isn't
Yeah.
it? I know, I
Very
say
useful.
that every day.
Dean.
I have one more comment. I'll make it brief. Somebody had before mentioned that not only are we looking at the market, right? What does the data show? What's in demand? But I think it was Susan. She mentioned that the students make their, we know what the demand is from what our students want to take and what they don't want to take. There still has to be room for the adults to make a decision. I know that it's valid to listen to the kids, but at the same time, we must assume the position of the adults in the room. And so the kids may all want to just make something up. They all want to go in, direction A. Well, we might know better that they need A and B, and whether they like it or not, they probably ought to have a dose of B as well. I graduated from an engineering school. I worked with a lot of engineers who also went to fine engineering schools. Their level of literacy, I'm not going to call it appalling, their level of writing skills, they're interested in reading anything beyond engineering reports. Smart people, not as educated as they could be. They're just, because of engineering, pharmacy, a lot of vocational programs like that very heavily emphasize their core topics. Yes, you're required to take some humanities, but somewhere along the way, some interest in the humanities has to be instilled in the kids. Even if they don't follow a humanities curriculum in higher ed, or they didn't go to higher ed, a love of this topic at least, so they remain at an amateur level, if need be, readers. okay, I'm in manufacturing, I'm in engineering, but I like to read books about history. I like to look this stuff up. I keep hammering history. So somewhere along the way that we have to remember that that's true. The kids may not want to go to STEM. We have to emphasize as the adults that there's importance in history and all the other stuff. The stuff. Thank you.
You got to eat your vegetables. Along with the chicken nuggets and mac and cheese.
And we're not going to fry. We're not going to eat the fries. We're going to do vegetables. Sorry.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah. Keep a balance.
Yep, that's true.
Always need a balance in life.
Yep.
Because who knows, 10 years from now, you may lay off 5,000 people. They'll have hired and laid off. So we got to look into the future, too. What we're capable of doing. And that all stable all the time. So anyway, thank you all for coming.
That's a good point.
Yes, good point. They do. They often. So now they're in the highway. The books are done. Who knows what's going to happen? We got to be stuck with the program.
No, we have contracts till like, we have contracts till, I'm wrong, I'm gonna be dead. I'm gonna be dead.
They still might down.
No, I know. No, I know.
It was good to see you.
You want to take a 5-minute recess?
Meet the room.
is 7:23, and we're at a recess.
I think, and Mike Whitney has joined.
Okay, all right, welcome, Mike. I just want to write this down. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a discussion of the data dashboard. I think you had a discussion on this last year in August, then you had in 2024, then you had a discussion on this, I think, in June, but we're bringing it back. The main thing to me is you already have data. What data can you show the board that's not like on the state website?
For tonight? Or
Tonight,
or
you're doing
is that
attendance.
discussion?
Yeah.
Discussion, yeah, that's
Oh,
discussion, yeah. Because I have to get the data dashboard off the you fellows,
That's our goal.
So we discuss that, you can do your thing, and then we'll discuss what data you could show us that you don't get normally.
And we were thinking of data dashboard also as being a vehicle of accessing data relatively easily, especially for our board and for our administration, and how we could maybe host something like that on the website to make it more convenient. So that was a premise too, but to talk about, is there anything missing here? What else is it that you're interested in?
Thank you, Lauren.
So again, tonight, it's revisiting the data dashboard that was put together through our strategic plan. And tonight's focus is on attendance and update on that. And so always coming back to our goal and our focus and our driving force right now, our strategic plan, attendance falls under our second pillar, okay, which is to cultivate a rich and vibrant learning community. And so under Pillar 2, the goal of Pillar 2 is to foster a safe and inclusive environment which engages and empowers students and staff and families for the entire community. And one of the priorities that we identified as a committee under this goal is priority number 6, which is specifically to increase student and staff engagement by emphasizing the importance of daily attendance. So again, just always coming back and grounding ourselves in the work that we're set to do over the next 3 years.
I like the sign. I was at Thames River Magnet School, and I was telling Susan, I saw the sign outside that says, "We need you here." So that's, I don't know if they're at all the schools.
Fitch High School has it on their big board. You go by and "We need you here." It flashes at them.
I think it says, Fitch is better with you here.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah.
And so again, as we're thinking about our strategic plan, how do we measure that? How do we measure our progress? What are our measures of progress? And so we have the data dashboard, which you see here. And there are specific components or key performance indicators that were determined by the strategic plan committee as ways that we would monitor and gauge our progress towards meeting our goals relative to the strategic plan. And so tonight we're really focusing on all of the key performance indicators around attendance. Okay. And so if you can recall, and these are linked, you do have these links in previous presentations, but our 3 key indicators can be found on the state website, okay? And they give us different information depending on what it is we're looking at and which key performance indicator. There are 2 places. There's EdSite Public, which is what you have access to, which is really just a high-level view of the information, of the data that, the attendance data that's available. And then we have EdSite Secure, which is very specific to district employees, teachers, counselors, and that has student-level data that we use to make more informed decisions about individual students and groups of students. Okay. With that said, we've taken that dashboard that we've been working off of, and we are looking to place it on the district website so that it is available and easy to access for all members of the community. It's public-facing information, so there's nothing there that couldn't be accessed otherwise. What we really try to do is think about the community, the board, teachers, all people who have a stake in our children and their education, and putting it in a place where they can easily access it and look closely at specific areas that are of interest to them or related to a topic that we may be addressing through the board or through the district. So we have transformed our website to have this data dashboard complement our strategic plan, both of which can be accessed on the main page. If you scroll to the bottom of the main page of the district website, you'll find the icons where you can click on either the strategic plan or the district data dashboard, and it will bring you to amounts of data that are available and manipulative data, meaning you can filter and sort and do some fun things with it to help you really identify what it is you're looking for. The other place you can find it would be if you're on the home page and you click on the menu button. It drops us down and it's under About Us, and again, it's connected to the district strategic plan. You can find that data right underneath, which is where you'll find our key performance indicators, which measure our success and our progress towards our goals. And so when we look at some of the performance indicators and our data dashboard, which will be up and live in public for you to look at tomorrow. So any feedback that you have related to it, you'll see there's a number of tiles, a number of information related to those key performance indicators, a number of ways to access it and filter it, sort it, depending on what you're looking for. When you have an opportunity to look at it, any feedback that you have is welcomed. So one of the pieces that can be accessed is the chronic absenteeism. Okay. And this is directly from the state, but please bear in mind that what you see on the state site comes directly from our student information system. So it's just, it's a two-way system that really they pull from us, but then they make it public so that it's available to anyone to really go in and look at. All right. So this does come directly from our student information system. And the chronic absenteeism is, this is a yearly report. Okay. That's how often it comes out. You can get the student count, you get the percentage of chronic absenteeism, which is marked by 10% of the enrolled school days. Being absent 10% or more of those school days is what constitutes being chronically absent. You can tease it out by individual years, or you can look at a trend over time. You can look at any district. You can look at all the schools or just as a district on a whole. So there's lots of different ways to look at this. And you can also filter by students. Meaning, like if you just wanted to look at gender as an example, or you just wanted to look at special education or high needs, you can filter out by that particular group to see where they are in relationship to chronic absenteeism.
Dean has a question.
I have a quick question. I realize that this is a link to the state site, state data. When you use the term chronically absent, I think different people have different ideas about what that might be, and we know what the definition of chronic absenteeism is. It's 18 days. Basically, if the school year is at 180 days, it's 18 days or more, right? And I know we can't control what the state says. I'm just wondering if it wouldn't be useful to have somewhere on our end something that says, by the way, if you're looking up chronic absenteeism, be aware of how that's defined. Otherwise, people will say, my goodness, 20% of our students are not there.
Right.
That's what people think of as chronic, meaning they're generally not there. And 10% is a lot, but it's not the same thing as generally not in school.
Agreed.
So,
We could add that, right to our dashboard on our website, just to have them have a quick, easy view. You don't see, this is just a screenshot, so it's not the whole image
Right.
from that website, and it does tell you underneath the difference between chronically absent, average daily attendance, and truancy. So it is, if you were to scroll down on this on the main website, you
It
would
would
see
say
that
that.
there as well.
it would still be, because we're providing information that we hope is useful.
Right.
And that would be useful, I think, it would still be useful to have it up, a definition up front, a quick definition up front, yeah. If that's, I don't want to crowd things. You know, it's like adding warning labels to liquor bottles. I don't know who reads those. My brother's in packaging, so he tells me all about it.
This is the feedback we were hoping to get, though. So as you go through and you see things like that, right, from a different lens, it's important to know, and I do agree that having it right on that main page would be helpful. So another part of the dashboard, another link would be your average daily attendance and or chronic absenteeism. So part of the dashboard includes a link to this section, which houses the state information. So on the state dashboard, it's an overall, as a state, where are we in terms of our chronic absenteeism and our average daily attendance. But what I do like about that page is it does also give a snapshot of all of the individual groups. So students that are English language learners, students with IEPs, free and reduced lunch, race and ethnicity. So it gives a snapshot of all of those different groups and where they are with their chronic absenteeism in relationship to each other. On the yearly, so this site also includes yearly attendance, monthly attendance, and what we call a view data, meaning it's just in table form. So the yearly and the monthly are more in like a chart like you see here, or a graph, versus the view data, which is really in a table format. It's just listed information that can be exported for a variety of purposes. Okay. When we look at this page, you can sort it. If we're looking at yearly attendance, again, this is an example of at the end of the year, after the June collection, this information is up to date on the website. Usually by the beginning of July, you can find the chronic absenteeism and average daily attendance for the previous year as a whole, right? Because it builds on one another. It looks at the whole picture rather than individual months. Okay. You can sort by chronic absenteeism, or you can look at average daily attendance. And the difference really is chronic absenteeism is who are students who are out at more than 10% of the current days enrolled in the school year, versus average daily attendance, which is who's coming, right? So chronic absenteeism is who's really not coming, and then the average daily attendance is who is coming on the whole, right? And it can be sorted by years, it can be sorted by months, it can be sorted by those student groups, again, those subgroups. And so that's specific to the yearly. And again, that is updated once a year, typically after the June collection. And then we have the monthly attendance. And our monthly attendance can also be filtered by chronically absent and or average daily attendance. It looks at, what's nice about this is you can look at by district, you can look at by year, you can look at by subgroup. This one's great because you can also do a comparison, a side-by-side comparison. So if you wanted to compare us, between us and let's say Ledyard, what does our attendance look like compared to Ledyard? So you can do that, okay? If you wanted to look at how our attendance has changed compared to how Ledyard's attendance has changed between last year and this year, which is what you see up here, not Ledyard, but just in general, Groton, you could do that. So there's a lot of different ways to manipulate this, to really fine tune what is it I want to know. Again, my advice whenever someone's going on to EdSite Secure or EdSite Public is to go with a question or a purpose in mind. If you go just to see what they have on attendance, you could go down a million different holes. Go in with a question in mind. What does our attendance look like in comparison to Ledger? That's a question, right? How are our chronically absent students? Who are our chronically absent students? And then you can go in with that question and begin to filter out the subgroups, right? So always just go on to it with a question in mind. In terms of our monthly attendance on the dashboard, again, we report out to the state monthly. So every month we compile a report in our student information system, our Groton information system. We report that out to the state, and then they publish it for the world to see, okay? And that's what you're looking at here. What you do need to keep in mind is when you're looking at the monthly report, what you're looking at is like a compilation from the beginning of the school year. It's not specific to May, or it's not specific to October. It's September and October combined, okay? We have this many days that we've been in school, 45 as an example. This is our total chronic absenteeism over those 45 days, if that makes sense.
So is it always 45 days?
No.
Okay, so the days can vary?
No, so let's say you're looking at December, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's 30 days in September, there's 31 days in October, right? You're adding up those days, and then based on the number of days we're looking at, we look at the student absences, and that's how the chronic absenteeism is determined.
Anne Marie and I, though, have worked on a 45-day, it breaks the year in quarters, and we send messages out to families reminding them how important it is, and we work with our principals reminding them how important it is, and staff. So, it just breaks it up into quarters, so that's kind of an interesting, and we passed day 45.
Yes, on October 30th.
On October 30th.
And we're going to look at that in a second, and I apologize if I said this already, but for the monthly reports, typically they're updated. It's collected at the end of each month. By the time it's washed by the state, and they've made all their corrections. Because remember, in the beginning, that process that we go through with data. By the time it's gone through its entire process and it's loaded up onto the site, it's typically around the 20th of the month. Just so that you are aware. So with that said, at our 45-day mark of school, so every quarter, our 90-day, 135th day, and then 180th day, we do like a snapshot of the day. Where are we in terms of our attendance? Where are we in terms of our chronic absenteeism? And so what you have here is our 45-day student attendance by school. And it's compared to last year. So what you see is the count from last year, and this is students below 90%, meaning our chronically absent students, right? They have not been in school 90% of the days. 90% of the total enrolled days this year, okay? Compared to last year at 45, the 45-day mark. So you have the count for last year, the percentage, the count for this year, the percentage. Does that make sense? Okay. And then what you have in the bottom is really like, how has that changed? How has that percentage changed from last year to this year? And you can see that based on our 45th day this year, we've had some pretty significant decreases in chronic absenteeism. Okay.
Which is good news. The negatives are a good thing.
Right. So when we're talking about chronic absenteeism, we're looking to decrease that. That's the role. And this has been a really big initiative for us this year.
And GMS looks like a real highlight, too, in this.
Yep. So all of them have had success bringing that number down in comparison to the same time last year. GMS is definitely our winner. They've really done a nice job of significantly decreasing their chronic absenteeism from the same time last year.
And Northeast also needs accommodations because or a shout out, because they really have done a great job year to year in having kids show up, So they've always been a good example.
Yes.
So their negative numbers, not that great, but they started out doing really well, so they didn't have as much room to grow.
Yep.
Dean has a question.
Yeah, quickly on that point, that's right. If you want to rank the schools according to how big those bottom numbers are, or how big they are on the negative side. That's really not informative, because if you have a school that's doing really well, you're right, you have such a small margin for improvement that you wind up in last place, because you've done so well. Yeah, so.
But also, like Mystic River Magnet School has a lot of special ed students are included in this, right?
Yes.
So they have a lot of special ed students that have a lot of special needs that might cause them to be absent.
Right.
So that makes a big difference too. So
Every school has
some
a variable, absolutely. It wouldn't be a school if there weren't variables, right?
Right.
So we do celebrate any decrease. I mean, that's the goal.
Right.
That is the goal, is to just make sure more kids are coming every day, right? That's the goal. So yeah, yep. And something to point out, it came to me when you said Mystic River. The only group that is not included in chronic absenteeism would be our pre-K students. We don't report them out. So just for a point of reference, so this is K-12 in this case, not pre-K-12.
So that would take into the pre-K and the TK. Okay.
Yep, so they're not included, so our Mystic River, Thames River, and NEA, that they do not include those transitional and preschool classes.
And Lauren, is that because you don't have to report that to the state?
We do not have to report that to the state. And for our preschool, it is what's the word I'm looking for? Some kids come certain amount of days, certain times, some come morning, night. It would just be very difficult to get a true picture. We probably could, but it's difficult to do. But maybe worth looking into. I really need to work with Karen Hyatt to tease out those individual students and where they are and how to actually make that happen. I'm like planning, I'm already planning.
I'm sorry, that would be a little meaningless, though, the pre-K attendance, because it's essentially voluntary. So, because it's variable, it's variable the way you said, what would we, what information would be, could be gleaned from any of the data that we collect? We can't look at it the same way that we look at the other grades where, it's compulsory, K through 12.
But it is something to still think about, like what would be the purpose, right? And what could we get from it? I just don't know about that.
Our goal has been to provide pre-K if people want to enroll their kids pre-K, but a lot of parents don't want to enroll their kids pre-K. So if our goal is, hey, let's get everybody in pre-K, okay.
It's not mandatory.
Right, pre-K we're going to make pre-K of
I think kindergarten is mandatory.
Kindergarten's mandatory.
Yeah, kindergarten has become mandatory.
Five, okay. Because before it was 8-7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I say pre-K and also TK, I guess. It's just, they're all animals, Anyway.
I'd still be interested if there was the right program. And so, again, part of our key performance indicators, we are also looking at staff average days absent. And so at the 45-day mark, you have our teachers and our paraeducators. And you can see that there is a 2-day absence average among teachers and 4 days among paraeducators. Okay.
But it's an average, and the range could be from having no days off in that 45 minutes, or COVID, so, or whatever else is brewing.
And so some of the action steps or efforts that have gone into improving attendance this year have included training all staff in your Tier 1 interventions, and then also creating targeted Tier 2 interventions and Tier 3 interventions for students who either were in that bucket or continue to be in that bucket, and just making sure we're supporting those families. The work has been happening with Mary Wrightington. She's had a great hand in helping us develop some of those interventions. We've revised attendance letters to inform and engage families, but I think that the bigger piece of that is the engage them. So looking at the language and how do we bring them in and make sure they understand that we're a partner in this, and we're looking to support whatever's happening that's preventing children from coming to school to get to school. So it's really about working with the families. The district has developed a district attendance team as well as school-wide attendance teams to really look at this information and look at who those kiddos are and look at the reasons that these kids may or may not be coming to school and the patterns that go along with them. And then also their district attendance policy and regulations have been revised and I believe are in the process of working towards the policy committee.
There's a lot on that list.
On the staff page, can you give us like a chart like you did for the kids on the staff page? Like, how was their attendance and for the year or something like that? More detail for staff. Because I'm interested in the staff attendance too. Because if the teachers aren't there, that makes a difference too. So, I don't know what you can do for staff attendance.
As we go through the year, we get this periodically. I don't know how often HR sends it to us, but they send us the data as we go through the year, and you have it marked for the 45-day periods,
Yep.
right?
And then the 90-day period. Yes. Yeah. So you want to see it more in like a chart form, like a table form?
Yeah.
Versus. I just want to write that down.
And maybe you can give us by school like you do the kids.
Oh, okay. Let me look into that almost.
Because what's true for the kids is true for the staff. We want the staff to be there too.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Maybe we got to do the same filter.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because it has the same impact, right?
Right.
Kiddos aren't there,
Right.
they're not learning, and if the teachers aren't there.
Adrian has a question, you don't mind, do you?
No, I can wait till she's.
No, okay.
No.
So I think that was really it. This is always bringing us back to, the purpose and how we roll around here. Groton's strategic plan is connected to the district. We develop that, and the schools develop their plan based on the district plan.
So we talked a lot about attendance, but what other indicators are going to be directly linked to our website?
All of the indicators that are on that beginning, so all of our key performance indicators, so you will have access to the district performance index, the school performance index, I'm trying to rattle them off the top of my head, post-secondary readiness, on track for graduation, all of those
Fitness.
indicators
All right, yes,
are available.
communication, I'm looking at it now, like, behavior, communications and climate, college and readiness. So all of these indicators that are kind of listed in this chart on page 4 are going to be linked in. Now, are you going to also link in just the district report card page or the school report card pages? And I just say that because I know we can go into the detailed data, but I imagine that not everyone's going to want to do that. And those, school and district report card pages are a way to kind of get a quick glance for people. Shoot, my mic was off. I'm sorry. So hopefully they got some of that in the recording. But I'm thinking that the report cards will give whoever's looking for the data, like a quick reference to the school or the district as a whole. And it is just the state available data. So
we have to indicate it's probably the year before, so they're looking at the older data, but they can find newer data as it's evolving all through the year.
Yeah.
So we just have to kind of put a notation so that
that it would be, clearly it would be the 24-25 school year. It's the data that we're going to look at, But that would probably be important to clearly label.
We can create files for that.
And then I know there was confusion before, and I went back and looked to see who did the referral, and it was Ian. So I'm wondering. I don't mean to put you on the. No, you're on the referral tracking sheet because I know we talked about this. Maybe it was a few months ago now or something. And sometimes with referrals, I can't remember what my line of thinking was when. But did you have anything in mind?
As far as the data dashboard goes?
Yeah, directly. So I don't.
Well, no, I think this is a great start, and it's obviously a process, and over time, like, we'll revisit it and we add things, remove things, add some more utility to it as we get a sense of it. But I think it's a good basic launching point.
That's how we kind of see it as the launch, because this is the data that we have access to. But as we go through the year, we'll probably come up with other ideas, and you may come up with some other ideas as well.
So, but one thing I guess I would like to open, just that won't be resolved tonight, but just in general, I think I'd be interested to hear from the teachers as to like what data they would like to share, or what they think, how do they want to demonstrate, how do they think they could demonstrate student progress to the board and to the community at large, coming from the teachers.
Ian, I appreciate that. That's also going back to that yardstick that the original board before my time, you were here before, had really been more comprehensive, and the state, in its infinite wisdom, has kind of come on board to Groton's thinking from 20 years ago. But it is. I would love to be able to ask, our teachers, our administration, what are the things that you want to share?
I like that. Okay, so add the district report card, add like a little descriptor for chronic absenteeism and related terms.
And the note about what Bev said as far as like applying the same filter to the teacher absences as well as the student absences, as far as like per building overall differentials.
Yeah, I need to look at that and see how to go about doing that because it's in a completely different system. So it's just I need to go in and really look at how to make that happen.
HR might be helpful too.
And then a teacher-driven demonstration of progress.
Yep.
Mike, you have a question? I got it, don't worry. Mike?
Yeah, just a couple of quick ones. I really like the day-to-day dashboard and how it's on the website. You can kind of click on each thing. One thing, when I open it on my phone, it goes straight to the state numbers, and then you have to select districts, which is fine. I was wondering if there is a way to have it splash right to the Groton district. I don't know if that's possible or not, the way the website's constructed, like the state website's constructed. And then my other question is, could we just have another menu item that just gets you straight to the state report card for Connecticut? Because just that's at least there you get like a quick summary. And I agree with what you're saying. You can get lost in that data pretty quickly, so going with the question's helpful, but that summary's helpful too. And then my other thing, just as a comment on teacher attendance, it's in their contract days they can miss for different reasons, and so I want us to remember that part of things.
Right.
Like a student is expected to be at school every day. A teacher in their contract has those personal days, sick days, and things like that, and it's called. Is what happens when you employ humans with lives and needs. And so we need to recognize that part, too.
Absolutely. Yes, I will add that tile for the district report card. And then what you were saying about linking it directly to Groton when you get to the state website, we did try that, and the algorithm on the state site, it doesn't allow it. It automatically reverts back to the state where you have to go in and then choose Groton. So we did try that with no success.
Did we reach out to Ajit, my friend?
I can, yeah.
Let's call Ajit.
Okay.
Thanks. I thought that might be the case because I've had a similar situation with it, too. Thanks.
Jay, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to come back to the idea that, for me, the data dashboard came up last year when we were doing the retreat, and we talked about not using the state website, but creating our own indicators, as you might recall, for different real-time data. And one of the questions, I know I sent an email a while back, I can dig it up and send it again, but the question was, what kinds of real-time data, such as testing data and that sort of thing, do we have in order to create that dashboard? Because, again, we get back to the state is very old data. Because it's going through all of its quality assurance and everything. We were talking about doing more real-time testing data, so that we could see the direction of the students, without waiting a year or two, and have it all filtered.
Jay, can you give us an example of what you might be talking about? Give us an example so we can be thinking along those lines.
Yeah, well, that's, my email had asked what kinds of real-time data, in terms of testing data, do we have? And my request was that be brought to the board so we can see, what is available that we're not currently seeing until a year or two later. And so I don't know where all that data is. That was the question that came up in the retreat.
Well, I mean, there are
other districts do that, and that's where I thought we were going.
Like their tests, midterms, grades. I mean, what are you talking about? Because the ones that we.
Real-time testing.
So what tests do you do? Like at the GA meeting, they talked about dibbles, but they said dibbles was like a 1 minute test, and it wasn't really a good.
We have those kind of tests that are used for monitoring and for intervention, and they're quick, and they happen 3 times a year, and we use the data to, drive our instruction and figure out who needs extra support. And they, of course, they have some common formative assessments at different, in different disciplines. But, it's not like a state test that is for everybody at the grade level. We don't have those. We have them for discipline.
So this sort of I feel like it circles back to what I was saying earlier about reaching out to the teachers and seeing what we can do organically within the district, see how they think they could best demonstrate growth amongst their own students. Because they're the ones closest on the ground. They're the ones that are making the determinative choices, based on formative assessments within the classroom. So, maybe we should just talk to them broadly and see what they think would be a good way to represent real-time capture throughout the school year.
That's what you can do, Anne-Marie? Sure. Okay. Let Anne-Marie take care of that.
Right.
And Adrian, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to throw in, what about, what other, aside from dibbles, we use iReady for math. What other assessments are we doing, like grade-wise? So iReady's math, correct? Right. What other assessments are we doing grade-wide? So I don't know how many times iReady has, but what are the assessments that we're doing besides dibbles and iReady?
Well, with the different programs, like Wit and Wisdom has formative assessments that the kids do after each unit, that kind of thing. I think some of the excitement that I've heard from elementary teachers has been around using the Florida UFly model for phonics, and them seeing tremendous growth of kids cracking the code, and it even applies to their spelling and writing. So they were seeing real growth with that, especially in the beginning. And I think that may be or may not be reflected in dibbles. I don't know if that's more comprehensive. The Wit and Wisdom assessments,
So are there ways to go into that software and produce district-wide or school-wide or something like that data that it's worth for us to know as a board, to be able to kind of track and see what's happening. And then, so I'm curious to see what data is available and what is reasonable for a board to see. But I also, to kind of take off of what Ian was saying, I mean, we do hear that, standardized tests, although they are standardized and the entire state takes them, so everybody's, has the same problems with them. I think the staff, they like other ways to assess children or to show improvement or growth. I know one of the ways is year-over-year growth. So I would be curious to hear that as well from the staff. What other ways we have of showing how we're doing?
The GA, I mean, Anne-Marie can do it, and when we meet with the GA in January, we can ask them at that meeting also.
I can meet them and talk to them too.
Mike, you have another question?
Yeah, it's just a little more on the absenteeism. It's always bothered me a little bit that the state just considers whether you're absent or not whether it's excused or not. And because, there are many reasons students can be absent, and it seems like there should be a carve-out for the unexcused parts, but and I get the rationale that, well, if you're not in school, then you're not in that learning environment. So I get it's important to track total absentees, but it seems like they should track the unexcused ones separately, and that could be more indicative of a problem than the total absences.
So they actually do, and what you're referring to is truancy, and while chronic absenteeism looks at any absence, regardless, you're missing school, you're missing instruction, truancy focuses specifically on those unexcused absences in a certain amount within a certain time period. So you're considered truant if you miss or you have 4 unexcused absences in a month versus 10 unexcused absences in a year. And there is some of that information is available on that attendance dashboard that we just went through. You can click on truancy to see that.
Thank you. That's a good point. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Lauren or Anne-Marie or Susan? No? Okay. Well, thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Anne-Marie.
Anne-Marie, thank you. And we look forward to you coming back with some of these answers, like just letting us know or notes. The next item on the agenda is discussion of budget priorities. So we're heading into budget season, and we want to hear from board members what they're thinking about what priorities of the district should be. Anyone want to start with that discussion? I know one would be probably looking for tutors, adding more tutors.
I would say priority would just, when we begin the budget deliberations, to have a complete package to start with. The book in full, not in piecemeal. And also to have, and we did discuss this in the ad hoc budget procedure committee meeting with Director Arsiak, is that to have all the FTEs for every department listed within those departments, and then if there's grant money is covering payment, their salaries, and have that notated, but
I think she's here still. She was working on.
well, I'm just saying in general, like we had talked about that, like trying to keep all the FTEs like more easily tracked. So if they're attached to a department, let the department lead the way, and then itemize the money on the page with notations. And Dean's mentioned this a number of times before, and it seemed like she was amenable to that. So that'd be a priority as well, just to kind of be able to clear that up, not be chasing FTEs all around.
I think that might have been in the review notation that, that the grant programs, anything funded by grants should be rolled into like the larger budgets. Otherwise, we have an operations budget, which is the big one, and then we have all the satellite, sort of side budgets almost. I believe that's what they were pointing out. They were saying, you should include, roll the grants in again, so it looks like, I keep going back to the town council, I hate to doing that, but you'd see the department, you'd see, everything that was the basic components, personnel, material, supplies, all this kind of stuff, and then the sources of funding, general fund, grant if there was one, et cetera.
Exactly.
Also, on the FTEs, if I might, there was a lot of confusion last year. Things not matching up. A lot of discussion, a lot of time spent on how come this doesn't add up to that. And a lot of it was just, I don't know, things were rushed, things were just being, it was a trapeze act. And not all the trapeze artists made it to the next rung. Luckily, there was a net. I mean, ultimately, this, it's not like we don't know who all our people are, but not everything jived together. That was a big problem in the discussions. But I know that's not what you're talking about when you say budget priorities. You're talking about, okay, leaving all that aside, the budget process, what we would like to spend all our fabulous wealth on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wasn't really talking about process. I was talking about,
As important as the process is, if I just take a moment, I know I'm not going to be here, but it's so important.
We still respect what you have to say.
Yeah. We talk about the later years and kids going into, being interested in, various things with manufacturing or higher education or both. Again, when we know this, it all starts with, can they read? Do they know what they're doing? Do they know which way to hold a book? When they get to kindergarten, that I can't really help unless they're in pre-K. Hopefully our pre-K tells the kids, this is how you hold the book. But yeah, literacy by grade 3, right? Getting out of grade 3 so that they're competent. After them, it's kind of, more and more and more on them. But, I think we've already addressed that in our goals.
So you're going to focus on the lower grades?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, I'm reminded of, this is kind of because I began working station in the 1980s, and there was a lot of talk, especially when the Miami River Bridge went. That panel fell out. People said, why isn't there focus on maintenance? Because there's a lot of ribbon cutting when the project's done. But, a rehab of a sewer processing plant, there's no ribbon cutting for that one. But that's just as important as when they first opened up the plant. So I think there's a lot of focus, and justifiably so, on, the higher grades. The kids are, we've got the young adults kind of thing where they're going very excited about the last 4 years. We should be just as excited. And just because third grade strings sounds like third grade strings, doesn't mean we should downplay it. And the elementary school teacher will tell you that these can be very exciting years. I personally, if I was a teacher, I'd love to teach in the last 4 years. But there are clearly people who are in love with teaching the lower grades as well. That's the foundation. The whole pyramid is built on that. That sand has to be, that gravel's got to be properly placed and compacted. Otherwise, you don't have a valid structure, a sound structure. So yeah, but I'm not saying anything that we haven't already talked about, which is the early grades.
So I'm going to have to basically echo what Dean said, except I won't say it as well as and eloquently as Dean said it. But yeah, I mean, we know statistically, and I've said this over and over again, if we don't get kids reading well by third grade, at their grade level, they are very likely to be unsuccessful through the rest of their school. And we know what the numbers are, and they're well below 50% of kids that are at grade level, in third grade. So I think exactly what Dean's saying. We do a lot of great things in the high school, and there's lots of different pathways and lots of offerings. But if we I don't know if the word failing our children at that early age, but if we underserve them at that early age, we may be shaping a trajectory that's really hard for us to correct later on, and hard to measure later on. So we don't know what successes we might see in 8 years those students that we kind of fail at that younger year. So I really would like to focus primarily on ELA and ELA supports specifically, like support staff be tutors or certified staff, because I think when we talk about ELA support, sometimes you need certified staff. Sometimes you need instructors with more training, especially like if we're talking about literacy, beyond just a teacher certificate, there's lots of stuff. And I don't want to take the focus off math, because the math is obviously there. We talk about ELA just because that's kind of more of a focus in first and second grade, and you really can't be as successful at math when you get to fourth grade if you don't have those ELA foundations. So I really think a lot of it stems from that ELA early on, and whatever we need to do there. So I would prefer, if we had a focus, it would be in improving ELA district-wide, because we know the statistics of where more help is needed, and they're in the, in what school. So I'll leave it there. But that's my priority.
We can walk and chew gum at the same time.
We can try.
I can't speak for So I know there are several things that we wanted to invest in last year, which were, like either made smaller or cut altogether. So I want us at the high school, like we asked Mr. Brown, obviously always asked the administration, but some of the ones that came to mind were like the business teacher, right? Like we never put forward that, and that's a mandate, and we are relying on the math teachers to supplement that. I want to make sure, the personal finance. The social worker, we had originally invested or wanted one at Northeast Academy, but then that position ended up getting split between Northeast and Charles Barnum. So I want to make sure that if there is a need for social work in Charles Barnum, like one of each, that let the two principals put that in, or at least let one of them put in, so that the split resource. There was a position where someone left whose workload, and I don't recall the name of the position, where their workload was basically double compared to where they went, and that was in Charles Barnum, so it was sort of speech pathologist. So if we can look to that to ensure that we have the right amount, because no one should really, we want a fair workload, and we want to make sure that our students are being served. So those were like the three that came to mind, and obviously from last board session, our budget season, we as a board, and I don't know if we're going to continue this, is focus and make more investments at the elementary school level to set that foundation. So those were it that I remembered from last year. I'm sure there was more, but we'll get there. Oh, and then this one is not really, it's more of like a process, but I'm going to chug it in there. If Rita can put like major contracts that are due for renegotiation in the upcoming year, so that we sort of can understand like where we may need to put additional funds. That's it.
Showing you.
My main focus is definitely going to be in agreement with Dean and Adrian, and Jennifer touched on as well as with literacy. In my day job, I work with a lot of data, and it shows that if students are behind when they finish elementary school and go on to middle school, they struggle and struggle beyond. So if we can get to that earlier, I'd like to look at additional possible assessments and tools that could be used to help get students on track at an earlier age. This will be my first time going through a budget process, and I won't say that I'm excited, but I'm intrigued and looking forward to kind of learning what the process will bring, and just working with the team to really shape something that will help our learners.
Thank you. Mike, do you have anything?
Yes, thank you. One thing, I'm interested to hear, as we go forward with the operational review, if there are any recommendations for additional staff in central office that would help some of those recommendations. So that's one thing. I'll leave it up to the administration to pitch that, though. The other thing, and I definitely understand the importance of literacy in all regards. I'm also going to make a pitch for math and science. It's clear, and we kind of just take it for granted that those scores, all the testing scores, are lower in math and science than they are for ELA. Those need to come up too. And I know we have been investing in STEM tutors and things like that, but we need that continued investment. And I'm not entirely sure on this, but I think typically what you see is that as you go from early elementary to later elementary to middle school, at least, I think our scores in terms of percent meeting goals tends to get lower over time. And I'm not sure how that, I don't remember how it tracks from middle school to high school. But so clearly the investment in elementary school has that payoff through the years. It's really important. But also, if there are challenges at the middle school level and high school level, we need to have that as a continuing priority too. And this is almost a process statement, but it might be a priority too. We have the strategic plan with the pillars, and we also have state testing results that, one shows strategies moving forward, the other show challenges and successes. I think as we go forward with the budget, and if we're asking for an increase other than like additional personnel, I think we need to really make a strong link to the challenges or the solutions that we're going for. And I think having the new strategic plan puts us in a really good position to be able to collectively argue for that. But I think it just needs to be brought in through the budget document as well.
Thank you, Mike. That's a great suggestion, because we have, we've worked on this for, a while since Anne Marie has come, and the old one kind of has gone by, but the new one we can certainly use, and it does talk about accelerating learning.
Dr. A, do you have anything? Andrea, are you there?
Yeah, just real quick.
Yes, I'm here. I just lost my mic, so no, I do not.
No, okay. Thank you.
I just wanted to express my support for the literacy, as mentioned by Adrian, Dean, Jen, and Sean. And reading from everything springs from that. Even math and science. Like, if you don't have good literacy, you're not going to be able to access and crack those materials at an early age.
All right. Anything else? Dean?
Yeah. I'll just slip in this quick process thing. We can budget all we want. We have to go before the other two bodies, the council and the RTM. That's a sales pitch. So dream all you want, conjure up all you want. You still have to make the sales pitch. The substantial factor in the yay or the nay that we get from those bodies is how competent do we look? The presentation, what our deliberations look like, how sells their information. You're never going to totally eliminate the political element. People love to take opportunities, but to the extent possible, let's put let's have the best. Let's dial ourselves up.
Which circles back to my first point.
Right.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Excuse me? Nope.
She wants to do the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Actually, can I just say one thing?
Hold on, Andrew.
Just a little thing. This has been the review of like the foreign language offerings, and I'll just say this for board members to maybe think about, but we did talk about it in the curriculum meeting. So if you want some more detail into some of our language offerings, if that becomes important to people later on, listen to our curriculum meeting. We went over that, and then we went over some scores and stuff as well. But review of the language offerings, maybe that's something we want to consider.
And you're talking about that for budget?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of brought this up last year and you know, increasing ASL offerings, but I'd be curious to see what the rest of the board feels on that.
Okay, anything else? All right, go ahead, Andrea.
I think motion to adjourn.
Okay, it is 8:23. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Now we are $8:24 p.m.
I'm not recording yet.
Oh,
When you turn the mic back on, then.
thank you.
All the formalities.
So you want me to start recording
Right.
with the vote?
Excuse me?
Do you want me to start recording to hear you vote to go into
Yes,
executive
yes.
session?
Yep, that would be good.
All right.
All right.
Jen needs the mic and stuff to confirm the vote, right?
She'll do it with her hand, she said.
Okay. You can do that.
Recording in progress.
All right. I'd like to call the meeting, a special meeting of the Groton Board of Education to order. It is now 8:25. And I'd like to have a motion to go into executive session to talk about the superintendent's contract and compensation, and to invite Susan Austin into executive session. Can I have a motion? Okay. All right, motion. No motion? Okay. We will not go into executive session, I guess.
I'm not, if I might, it's a point of order. I'm not sure that an executive session, that this counts as an exemption that would fall under the executive session. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it does.
I know that discussion of collective bargaining agreements would fall as an exception. I know that discussion, for example, of the performance of staff would fall under executive session, but I'm not sure that this contract would.
You've been talking about it in the executive session.
Oh.
Floyd said not to.
I could be wrong. I mean,
all right, well, what we can do is, go ahead, Adrian.
I don't know if we have discussion, but I was just going to, my concern is just that we don't have a full board here.
Okay.
oh yeah, Andrew's all checked out. Well, we're missing, Mike's still here, so there's 7 of us.
Jay left, I just texted Jay. All right, so we don't have a motion to go into executive session. Meeting's adjourned. I make a motion to adjourn. I have a second to adjournment.
Second, Thomas.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Without objection.